After patiently saving, collecting, and counting every coin needed for the fare to Russia, the young couple at last found themselves ready. What had once been only a distant dream had become a real road beneath their feet, and they set out toward the vast land of Russia. To Lobar, it looked like the start of a beautiful new chapter, a fresh beginning in a place where her problems might finally begin to loosen, one careful step at a time. It promised freedom, peace, adventure, and a path toward her dream of becoming a mother. She had left behind the stress of life in her mother-in-law's house, hoping to turn the page and rebuild her future. Maruf too seemed ready to begin again. Together they pictured the days full of light and the promise of good fortune, imagining the work they might find, the money they could earn, the comfortable life this place might finally allow them to build. As the beautiful buildings glided past the car window, it felt as if opportunity itself waited just ahead. In this foreign land, one they had never once set foot in, what awaits this naive young couple? With what hopes, with what quiet longings and dreams did they set out for this place? What will they gain here? And what will leave them astonished? From today's chapter onward, you too will slowly uncover everything step by step. Part 1. The Woman's Take in a Gamble. The young couple, unaware of the hardships of life in a foreign land, were watching the sights of Moscow through the car windows as they rode in a taxi, while darkness began to fall. "Have I kept you waiting too long?" asked the full-figured woman in the front passenger seat. Beside the driver. "There are so many people from Samarkand this time. Getting them all settled isn't easy." Reading the sign "Supermarket" in Latin letters, Lobar remembered her friend Zilola. What a fortune it must be to work as a saleswoman in a place as luxurious as this. The taxi left behind the impressive buildings and wound its way through 4-story houses, their old porch sagging, laundry strung across ropes, finally stopping beside a garbage dump. Lobar had never thought she would come to such a bleak eyesore of a place. The plump woman told the taxi driver to wait, but a short distance away, 3 tall, tough young men from the Caucasus were on the verge of fighting, pulling at each other's collars and screaming at one another. Seeing this, the taxi driver began asking about the fare and said, "Нет, я не смогу здесь подождать." The young man, briefly fixated on the newcomers, soon resumed their quarrels. The stair railings were rickety, rattling and shaking with the slightest touch. Even the breeze slipping through the cracks in the window panes couldn't disperse the stench. Instead, it slammed into their noses. "Not exactly a well-kept place," panted the plump woman. "But it's cheap. You need a cheap apartment. After all, you didn't come here for pleasure, but for work, didn't you?" When they reached the third floor, Lobar spotted a girl of about 15, wearing a fairly brief skirt, sitting on the stairs. She couldn't help exclaiming, "Oh my goodness!" The girl scooted over slightly, but didn't even think of covering her bare legs in front of strangers. The plump woman laughed at her reaction. "Lobar Khan," she said, raising her eyebrows. "From now on, you will need to be careful with Maruf John. She can't just lock that away," Maruf said dryly. They knocked on the door on the fourth floor. The apartment's owner was a full-figured Russian woman of advanced age, with fair hair and blue eyes. After exchanging a few words with the plump woman, she led Maruf and Lobar into the room for rent. The place, heavy with a nauseating stench, would now serve as a refuge for 3 families: the landlady herself, the Tajik tenants, and Maruf and Lobar. The plump woman said her goodbyes, swearing an oath. She insisted that tomorrow her nephew would come and solve the work problem. Around 10 in the evening, someone opened the door. In the hallway came the sound of a key turning and a woman saying something in Tajik. Lobar had been sitting there, lost in heavy thoughts. When her husband nudged her, reluctantly she rose from her seat and looked toward the hallway. On the doorstep sat a Tajik woman in a simple clothing, taking off her shoes. The 2 women stared at each other, frozen, caught in that strange, tense moment. "Do you live here?" Lobar asked. "Yes," the Tajik woman replied. "And where are you from?" "We are from Uzbekistan, from Samarkand." "So you 2 also came here as husband and wife?" "We are from Dushanbe. My husband comes home at midnight, but that svoloch has an easy job. It's hard only for me, the poor one. I'm a janitor at 3 different places." Lobar did not try to think about why someone who returned home at midnight would have an easy job. She managed to see this woman's husband, whose name was Akmal, around noon. Akmal looked, by his appearance, like a lazy-natured, sluggish sort of man. From his big belly and soft, flabby body, he didn't resemble someone who did physical labor at all.